Hello friends, Inglorious here. In this video we are going to be talking about turning this into this. In the crash at the end of the season I managed to puncture a hole in my clutch cover with my brake pedal tip. I ordered a spare one online for about £60 and had to wait about 20 days for the delivery to arrive. Meanwhile, I started to look into protection for our clutch and other side engine covers.
Okay, internet, lay your wisdom upon me. Bike is popular in Australia, maybe they have something. Ooh, that looks nice. Right, I'm not paying that. Anything else?
No.
Okay, never mind. Let's try AliExpress.
No.
There is only one thing to do.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm kidding. I wasn't going to give up so easily. Well, how about...
That's a bingo. You just say bingo.
I found a post from the guy on some KTM forum where he talked about making his own clutch cover protection, first from aluminium plate and secondly from Kydex. So I had a lead and my research has begun. So what's Kydex? Kydex is a plastic that becomes elastic at about 165 degrees. So you can shape it any way you desire and wait for it to become solid again. Among general public it is mostly used for do-it-yourself gun and knife holsters, but it also seen some applications as far as aircrafts. Kydex is American-made material, but I couldn't find much of it available here in Russia, so I have ordered mine from AliExpress. I also was curious if the material from Ali would be up to task. Here you get two options of thickness, 1.5 or 2 mm, and the size goes from 30 by 10 cm to 30 by 30. Original Kydex also goes up to 3.2 mm. And there are lots of different color variations available on original Kydex and AliExpress. Hell, with this thing you can go bonanza and even camouflage your bike. Though I'd rather you didn't. Kydex has two sides. One that is glossy is an outer side. Material also has a wave-like shape. If you look closer you can see it. It tends to shrink quite considerably from one side and stretch a little bit from the other side. My 15 cm piece shrunk about 4 cm and become about 11. Knowing it beforehand is very important, so you leave yourself some extra material to work with. Side note here, I'm far from being any kind of expert on this subject or this kind of material. On the official website there is a list of different variations of Kydex you can buy, so depending on what you buy and where you buy, your experience may be a little bit different. The most popular variations of Kydex to use is Kydex 100 and Kydex T. Some days after I've ordered, my 30 by 30 2 mm thick Kydex sheet has arrived, along with some heat-resistant foam that's supposed to help you to shape the Kydex in a makeshift press. I figured 15 by 15 cm piece of Kydex would do fine for starters. I've managed to cut it fairly easily using my hobby knife by cutting it in one line multiple times. I used my oven to heat up the Kydex at about 200 degrees. At this temperature it became soft in less than a minute. At first I placed Kydex into oven with my clutch cover, expecting the material to fold nicely around the clutch cover, but it didn't work. For some reason it folded towards outer side. After heating it, I got it out and pressed on it as hard as I could to make it into desired shape. Heat-resistant foam that I bought along with the Kydex did quite little to help. It is way too sturdy for the object this thick. It made the initial shape on top of the clutch cover pretty good, but it did nothing to press on the sides. No matter what I tried, I couldn't do anything. So I went to option number 2, using a heat gun. I don't have one, so I went to our workshop where my friend works to use theirs. At first it seemed like a pretty shitty idea. The area that heat gun affects is way too big. Working around the cover, you get first part done, then you move to the next one and the heat passes from this area back to first one, deforming it. It was frustrating. But playing with it around for some time, I've managed to make it pretty much perfect. Few things to do the trick here. First, the gun I was using produced about 500 degrees Celsius. At this temperature it takes just about 10 to 15 seconds for Kydex to become elastic. When it starts to fold a little bit, you know that it's hot, and you must work quickly to press it hard on the area which you're working with. If you hold it too close or for too long, it straight up melts Kydex. You can use this to your advantage in the areas where you need it to be very narrow. I've spent around 30 minutes working my way around the clutch cover, first making the initial curve and then hitting the bottom part and pressing it as hard as I could. Job was done when piece was getting firmly on clutch cover and lost most of its free play. The idea for my clutch protection is to go on this side, have some kind of bridge between them in the middle and leave a huge gap here for our original clutch hose protection. I hope to achieve all that by cutting the rough shape with these metal scissors. For the narrow spaces I'm gonna use my hobby knife, and I got some files to make it perfect. I don't really think that this is an ideal tool for that, but I don't have anything else that could fit the requirements. Quite a narrow gap here actually, because I can always cut a little bit more, but if I cut too much, it looks quite fine. It's cutting like that, it works okay. Took me some time to cut it out, but I got eventually there, and I'm really happy of how it turned out to be. It covers pretty much all of the space around, and with the snuggy feet it still has a room for the original plastic hose clutch protector to get inside. Get inside, I said. Good boy. And outside very well. So when you're gonna glue it, it's gonna stick, but this can be easily removed for some kind of maintenance. Now to the tests. Our clutch cover protection has two primary functions. Number one, it has to withstand an impact and protect our clutch cover, so we don't have to buy a spare one and waste our days of riding. Number two, it has to withstand the heat produced by our engine. It's about 100–110 degrees Celsius, so we're gonna put it in an oven for about 15 minutes with 130 degrees and see how it does. Yeah, so I didn't have to wait that long to see that our test has failed us. It's been less than 2 minutes there, and it's already flat. This is our piece now. But now we can make it back in a shape. All you have to do is just press it as hard as you can with all your weight. Unfortunately, now we know that this material from AliExpress is not up to task. It didn't withstand not even 130 degrees. It was already starting to soften while the oven was still heating up. Now to test number two. I still get to heat it. I really hope it withstands the damage. I know that I'm not hitting it as hard as I possibly can because I still value this clutch cover. I'm gonna try to recover it. But I can say that still this thing protects it from somewhat minor impacts, which probably could save my clutch cover. Actually, I'm quite surprised. After this Kydex not taking up the heat, it took the heat and took it pretty well. The marks here quite significant, but clutch cover itself didn't get anything of it. It's fine. Well, conclusions. The project at its current state has failed spectacularly, actually. Well, yeah, I'll have to admit it, but not the idea, not the concept. It failed because of the material. The material was from AliExpress. It's not the original Kydex that you should be able to buy on Amazon At least, as I said, it's quite hard to get it here in Russia. For the past few days I've been trying to get my hands on some of it, and hopefully I found a place where they're gonna sell me a original one. I want to make sure this time that this is not a cheap knockoff that you can buy in China. In a nutshell, there are products that are available for our motorcycles to use even as if of today. They are available, you can buy them, you can install them and use them, but the pricing, in my opinion, is just ridiculous. Yes, on the old Cafe Husky post forum, someone argued that it just barely covers the cost of production, manufacturing, developing, and leaves some room for profits, of course. But when you consider that you can buy full aluminium skid plate for less than that, and it covers most of your engine, not just one side of it, come on. And even going further, you can buy Polysport protection for $20 to $40 for your motorcycle at your local store, and you don't have to wait for it. Yes, not for our bike. Our bike is not popular, so we have to make do, and I do intend to finish this project with the new materials. I really hope that it's gonna work out, and if someone will find yourself, if you will find yourself in such a position, in such a pickle, when you can't get your hands on something, you know now that you can actually make it using just the common tools. The heat gun, yeah, I know, it's maybe not everybody has it, but you can make a makeshift press at home. Actually, using this foam, I just didn't want to really cut it in pieces and manufacture it. I was able to use a heat gun. If you can't, you can use the stuff. So that's it. I do thank you for watching, look forward for part number 2, and goodbye! As I was actually post-editing this video, I found out there was a Hyde Racing website that claims to have had some kind of protection for our motorcycle. It's not available on their original website, but it is available, maybe, I'm not sure, on some website from South Africa. If you're interested in it, you can check it out, contact them and ask them if they have it still. I'll leave a link in the description below. The pricing is more or less suitable. It's like about $50 something. I think it's okay. It's not ridiculous, at least in my opinion, so check it out. Home oven where I cook my cookies.
Cookie! Nom 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 nom. Oh, nom 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 nom.